Now let's focus on how to deploy our bot using this new tool called Render. Render is a super easy way to instantly deploy all of our apps, including any script such as the bot script we've written in Python. Render connects directly to our GitHub account, and then we can basically set up a job that runs on the hour and will then run our script that retweets the likes of David Dobrik. Now, I stumbled upon Render and it's super easy to get started and to use, but it is a little bit more expensive than AWS since they're basically abstracting away the complexity. Before we get going, there's one thing that's required, no pun intended, and that's the requirement text file. If you recall, when I spoke before about how to install our requirements, I went through a command where we can freeze our requirements. This is going to create a new file, pip freeze requirements.txt. So basically what we're going to do here is we're freezing our environment, and all of the packages and modules that we've installed will then be written into the requirements.txt. This is important because on Render we are going to install a build in that cloud environment and using all of the modules and packages that we have used in our Python virtual environment. So go ahead and run that script and then head back over to Render. Now set up a Render environment and follow the steps to connect your GitHub account. Once there, what we're going to do is create a new Cron Job. After you've connected your GitHub account, you should see various repos in a drop-down menu after clicking the Create Cron Job. Now, I trust Render with my information, so I was okay making this a public repository since I'm also using it for the Udemy class. So I'm going to go ahead and select the Udemy TwitterBot repo that we had pushed our code to in a previous section. And next, we are just going to want to give it a name, which is required. So let's just call it TwitterBot. The environment we're going to use is Python 3. It's going to pull from that master branch. And this is the build command is where this requirements.txt file is necessary. Basically, to build the environment, it's going to run pip install and pick up all our modules and packages. Now, the next thing we're going to do is schedule it. So for those that haven't written a cron job before, this is basically going on the minute, hour, day, week, month. And so for us to run it every hour, we're just going to write 0. And again, that's very helpful for every hour. And the command we're going to run is going to be python retweet bot.py, which is going to basically take that Python file and run that command every hour. And from there, we're going to create the cron job. Awesome. Now, what you should remember is we have environment variables, which are in our M file, which we did not upload to GitHub. But luckily, Render makes it very easy to add an environment variable. So here what we're going to do is go ahead and add in all of those API keys and access tokens. Now what we're going to be putting here is our key value pair, which we can get from our M file. So if we go back to our code, we can see we have our API key, our API secret, the access token, and the access secret. So let's copy this, and this is going to be exactly how we call it in and we put in our access token, access secret. And again, let's just copy each of these over. So our API key is that, our API secret is that, our access token is that, and lastly our access secret, which again we got from the Twitter developer, is there. Great, now we can save these changes, and now we'll be able to access our environment variables in the render call. So what we're going to want to do is test our build, and we can do this from running a manual build, which is in progress, and we'll just double check that everything works successfully. And basically what it's doing is building our environment on render, and once that environment is built, it can run the cron job every hour. And then let's trigger a manual run to ensure our cron job works successfully. And our cron job succeeded. And now if we go to our Twitter bot, we'll see we retweeted David Dobrik's most recent likes. Great, so that's render. Next, let's look to see what happens if we wanted to use AWS instead.